So this is Tuesday, February 12th. We're going to be talking, hiccup on Camp Tecumseh. You have a checkpoint coming up for book report on Thursday, and tomorrow is going to be Greek mythology. With Camp Tecumseh on my website, if you go to the homework files and then go down and choose regular advanced, there's one that says Camp Tecumseh. Go to the Camp Tecumseh page. It's going to have the Camp T info booklet, and it also has the permission slip and stuff like that. Camp Tecumseh. To help you out with it, 1, this yellow piece of paper is mostly for your parents, so that you can take it home to them and they have some idea of how much they're supposed to pay to turn in. All of your questions, they'll go on the back side. Most likely I will cover them. If for some reason I don't, then you get a chance to see me at the end. When is it that we go? It is going to be the week right after spring break. Literally, the day we come back from spring break, we leave for Camp Tecumseh. So we're going to come back and be here. So we have like spring break through Sunday. You go to bed, wake up, Monday, we go to Camp Tecumseh. So it's like a back-to-back thing. We're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Globetrotters are there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You will not see Globetrotter friends that entire week. You will see them for roughly 10 minutes, maybe, as we pass each other on buses. They're getting off a bus, we get on a bus, like, hey, how are you? Okay. And that's about it, as much as you're going to get a chance to see them. We are also there with half of the stars. Any star whose last name begins with A through I, they are there with us. If their last name is J through Z, they're going to be there with the Globetrotters. So that's how it's going to be split. I'm going to go ahead and cover this next part right away, because I have a feeling it's the big thing that you're going to have questions about, which is groups and who is going to be in my group. So let me cover that for you. Now's the part where you can clear off the iPads. You no longer need them. I will be activating a Socrative, which will be open for about a week. In the Socrative, what you're going to get a chance to do is pick 4 friends that you would like to have in your groups. Because you have 3 different groups you're going to have somewhat of an influence over. The first one is going to be your study group. Your study group is who you spend 90% of your time with. Because you don't spend your time with teachers while you're there. You're going to spend your time with a bunch of other junior high kids and then 2 high school kids. And those 2 high school kids are going to be the ones that sort of take you around and do all the stuff like that. Those study groups are going to have between 8 to 10 kids, both boys and girls, both stars and heroes. You will have some influence over who gets to be in this group. We'll talk about that in a moment. Your next group is going to be your cabin group. And this is who you spend the night with, who you're going to be in that cabin bunk area with. Now, if you're a boy, you're going to have 12 to 13 boys in your cabin. If you're a girl, it's a little bit less because of how numbers work out. You're going to have about 8 to 10 girls in your cabin. Yes, you will get to have some influence over this. If you have friends, you're probably either going to have a friend in your study group or the friend in your cabin group. Most likely, you're not going to have the same friend in both groups. But you will get to have a friend in your study group and a friend in the cabin group. Most likely. If your parent is going and they are the same gender as you, they will be in your cabin at night. But that is about the only time you're going to see them. At cabin and at meals. The rest of the day is not spent with your parent because we understand that you don't want to spend time with them. And so you'll see them at night. Oh, and if your parent is of the opposite gender, they're not in your cabin. That'd be creepy. So they're going to be in a different cabin somewhere else. Then the third group you get to have influence over, a little bit, is going to be your dinner group, who you get to have breakfast with, lunch with, and dinner with. This is a much smaller group. This is about 5 to 7 people that are going to be in this group. Both guys and girls, and it's going to be both heroes and stars. If your parent is going, your parent will be at your table. If your parent is going, I will give you a friend at your table. If a parent is not going, it is random. You will not necessarily be with any of your friends at the tables. The tables are going to be all random people. Did you need to grab something? Did you find it? All right. Now, back to you having influence over things. Here is where that whole Socrative thing comes in. We're going to get a chance to fill stuff in. Need to grab your what? Is it in here? Is it charging? Is it left underneath it? If you look over there. Is it that one? Hey, good teamwork. Thank you, Liam. So, as far as you choosing who is going to be in your group, my goal is to give you one of your friends in your group. I am the one that builds everything for Camp Tecumseh for you guys. I make your groups. I make everything that goes into it. If you have not irritated me this year, my goal is to give you one of your friends in your group. most likely just one friend in your group, unless you've made poor choices. If you've made poor choices, you're not going to have a friend in your group. The choices you made this year shape your Camp Tecumseh group in April. If you're a fairly good kid and you list someone on your number one spot, let's say Tommy and I want to be in the same group. What I will do on my friend list on spot, because when you fill out this Socrative, friend number one is more important than friend number two. Friend number two, more important than friend number three. So you're going to have to rank your friends. Yes, it creates drama. No one is going to see it except for you and me. So you don't have to worry about them. You're not posting it onto, well, unless you want to post it and create drama. But for the most part, it's just you and me seeing it. But if Tommy and I want to be friends, we have to make sure that neither one of us has been a turd kid in class. And if he puts me down for his number one, and I put Tommy down for my number one, there's a 99.8% chance that we're going to be in the same group together, because I will work to make that happen. If I have been a turd kid, and Tommy has been a turd kid, we're not going to be in the same group, because I limit myself to one turd kid per group. If you've made poor choices, does that mean I'm not going to have any of my friends in my group? Not necessarily. If you've made poor choices, and you have a bit of a turd to you, you still have hope. If you have good kid friends, list your good kid friends, and you have a chance of being in their group, and that's absolutely fine with me. So, especially if you have an honor society friend. If you have an honor society friend, and you list them, and they list you, I will put you in the same group together. If you're not honor society, and your friend is not honor society, and you make poor choices, and your friend makes poor choices, that's not going to happen. If friend number two makes poor choices, that's not going to happen. If friend three makes, and so on and so forth. So if all you do is list kids who make poor choices, you're not going to have any of those kids in your group. You get to go back and re-examine your life choices. So choose wisely. If you're honor society, I will probably give you multiple kids in your group. So not just one, but I will try to give you several kids in your group. It's one of the joys of being honor society. Here's one of the drawbacks to being honor society. If you're honor society, you might get put into what's called a supergroup. And a supergroup is where you're going to have all of your friends in your group. Mr. Brovicast, that sounds like the best thing ever. It is, except for one small part. I have super turd kids who have to go into a group. So what I'll do is I build one supergroup of great honor society kids, and I put in that kid who gets to be put into that group. Because that kid has to go somewhere. So to make it up to you, I give you a group of all of your friends and that kid. Now, if you get your groups and the whole thing, if you find out that none of your friends are in your group, there's two reasons why that happened. One, you're a bad kid, and all you did was list bad kids. In that case, you're not going to get any friends in your groups. Or, none of your friends listed you. If your friends don't list you, you're not going to be in any of their groups, which happens every year, and we have sadness and tears. Yay, junior high. But the problem is, I have kids who go creepy mode, and they're just like, I'm just going to list 4 popular kids, and I'm just going to be in a popular kids group, and I'm just going to be like, the whole time. It doesn't work that way. So you cannot just list popular Tom, popular Bob, popular Sue, and popular Phil, and be like, I just want to be in one of their groups. It doesn't work that way. If they don't list you, you're not going to be in that same group. So that's how the whole group thing works out. My goal is to give you a friend, unless you give me a reason not to through poor choices. All right, now on to the next part. How much does it cost? It's $135. Yes, it's a lot of money. Most parents would happily pay this to get rid of you for 3 days. Most of you would happily pay this to get rid of your parents for 3 days. It sort of works out pretty well. Luckily, you're not paying it. Your parents are. It's their problem. If your parents can't afford it, that's fine. Completely understand. We can help offset the cost. Have your parents contact me and say, hey, I want my kid to go. I really want to get rid of them for 3 days, but money is an issue. We will find a way to cover it. We will not take you because of money. If money is the only thing holding you back, we will still take you. The only thing that will hold you back is you not turning in that permission slip. Or if you get in trouble at school, we can't take you either. But if you want to go and your parents can't afford it, we'll still take you. If you want to go and your parents don't want you to go, talk to me. I will try to talk your parents into it because I want you to go and I think it's a great experience. So I'm more than happy to help you out. Money-wise, we would like to have it by March 22nd, But if your parents can't afford that by then, talk to me. We can do it later than that. We can wait till April if need be. Just let me know. We're more than happy to work with you. It's just March 22nd makes it easier on us. If your parents are going, they don't have to pay. I mean, they're going to pay, just not money. They pay in like tears and coffee because they're putting up with teenagers for 3 days. So they're going to pay in other ways. But they don't have to pay actual monies. What is it? Outdoor education. Which we realize that for a lot of kids, you guys don't spend any time outside in the woods running around playing and enjoying yourselves. Mr. Bobby, like, that's not true. I chop down trees all the time. You do? In Fortnite, that's how you build the little... Yeah, I'm aware. I'm talking about like actual trees and actual axes and stuff like that. So that's what we want you going out, running around the woods and actually getting a chance to experience things. Seeing real actual animals like deer running past you and big fat raccoons waddling past you and stuff like that. That's what we're trying to have you have experience with. Plus, while you're there, you're not hanging out with teachers. Because if you were hanging out with teachers, no kid would want to go. You're hanging out with high school kids who we train to do all this and go through a rigorous training system, and these high school kids are the ones you're going to be hanging out with. Teachers are there in case, like, I don't know, you get attacked by like an angry chipmunk or something. We're there to help you out, but for the most part, you're not hanging out with us. Now, sometimes the teachers like to creep through the woods to scare you. But that's not no. Some of us have been going so long we can go through the entire camp without a flashlight at night because we know where every tree is. And that just makes it even more fun to sneak out.
No.
What do we do? A lot. We're going to spend a whole bunch of time out there. You're going to be spending time with your study group, which are these 8 to 10 kids you get to hang out with, which most likely you're going to have a friend in there unless you're that kid. And if you're that kid, then the choices you made, stuff like that. We are going to do science, math, social studies, English, but it's not like normal like we do it here. We try to make it a bit more fun as we go through it and do things. You are going to be doing science and math, but it's not like sitting there with equations. You're doing it, it's more the real life learning stuff as you're out there on trails. Like, if you're being chased by a bear, you can run 3 feet every step, and you have a bear behind you. I don't know, some kind of mathy sciencey thing. Or we have the black hole, where you're going to have like these slides you go down. You have to figure out the speed and how things compare and stuff like that. And you'll figure out the stuff that goes into it. So yes, you do science, you'll do math, language arts, social studies. For social studies, we give you a GPS, and we put you in the woods and see if you can find your way back. You guys get to work as a group trying to read the GPS and not get lost and die eaten by the Indian brown bear. It's great. Oh, if you don't go by, well, one, if you do go to camp, there is a packet of work you do, but you do it with your group. And you sort of get to help each other out, and your counselor helps you guys out as you go through and do it. If you don't go to camp, you do the same packet, you just stay here. It's just instead of like going in the woods and having people help you, you get to watch a video of woods and have no one help you. So you do the same work either way. It's just one you're running around in the woods with other kids, and then one you're sitting in the library. Things you don't get to do if you're here. We do take you canoeing, and you will go canoeing regardless of weather. If it's snowing, you go canoeing. If it's 80 degrees and sunny, you go canoeing. If it's raining, you go canoeing. If it's windy, you go canoeing. But it's more fun. Because the side of the canoes are like little sails. And so when you go canoeing, for some reason, I have no idea how this works. At Camp Tecumseh, the wind always blows in that direction. It's like some kind of weird wind tunnel thing. And so if it's windy when you go canoeing, you'll go out, and it'll just go, and it blows you straight against that little rock wall. It's the best thing ever. And I get to walk on with a giant stick and push kids off the wall. And I'm like, paddle! And you're like, paddle, paddle, paddle. And you go right back to the wall. Like, paddle harder! Paddle, paddle, paddle. Right back to the wall. It's like watching magnets, like, yick, snap, yick, snap. And they come flying back together. It's great. Do kids fall in the water? Well, let me ask you this. Are some kids dumb? So, yeah, some kids are going to fall in the water. Do we have kids? Settle down. You don't have to talk now to let me know you're dumb. I already know the answer. Some years we don't have kids fall in the water. Some years we have smarter kids than others. If you fall in the water, you're going to get what we call wet. That's how water works. You're going to wear the little life vest and stuff like that. You're probably not going to die. We've not had a kid die in years. And so you should be fine. It's been months. And so with the whole, you guys are right. You do get to choose who you go canoeing with. So while you're out there, just don't go canoeing with that kid, and you should be fine. Unless you are that kid, then you're out of luck because you know who you we're going to do the black hole, which is, it's a hole, and it's black, and it's black hole. And this is where you get to go on a sled, you have to sort of figure out the whole speed and how things work and stuff like that. There's two of them right next to each other because you get to race each other as you go down. And then one part is you realize when you have a question, you have to write it down because the teacher's not going to call on you for a long time. So you just go ahead and write the question down and get frustrated. We're also going to be building hot air balloons. Not the ones you get to ride up in, but hot air balloons where you're going to have a whole bunch of tissue paper and you're going to glue it together and you make a giant hot air balloon thing that's going to go all and fill up with air and it flies all around. This is where some of that science and math comes in. You have to figure out what direction it's going to go with the wind blowing, what animals are going to do, if you can hit a bird or something like that. All I know is that we go the first half of the week, which is fun, because going the first half, all of these trees are going to be covered in our balloon carcasses that are hanging up there. So when the Globetrotters show up on Wednesday, it looks like this weird balloon graveyard with all them hanging up there in the trees. And when they show up, it's like, we don't talk about that. Like, what happened? Like, shh. Those fun things that sort of like freak out Globetrotters. When we're blowing up these, you can't see what's in this direction, is Mount Wood, which is the thing that you get to climb up because you get to do rock climbing. There's a whole big rock climbing wall thing here, and so you get to climb up the top. Plus, where you are is right next where the balloons go by. So sometimes if we have good aim with the balloons, we can try to hit the rock climbers with the big tissue paper balloons. Would it hurt if you get hit? Yes, it's killed a kid once. No, it's tissue paper. If you get a tissue paper injury, I will personally help heal you by laughing at you until I fall down. And so it's just tissue paper that goes flying right past you. But you do get a chance to climb up. They buckle you in things you get to climb. The first time I heard about the fact that we were going to go square dancing, I was like, what is
it's so fun.
But it is.
It's so fun.
So much fun. Yeah. I thought the same thing. I was like, it was not the. I thought it was like hillbillies and hats, but it wasn't. It's just more dancing.
I'm okay.
If you hate dancing, you can sit off to the side, and I'll be happy to make fun of you. It's not a problem at all. It's led by a guy who's really good at dancing, and then also the high school kids who come out there too, and we all dance and lead you. And then you get to dance and join us. If you really don't want to dance, I'm not going to make you. It's a fun thing. I'm not going to make you have fun. You can sit at the side and be grumpy. That's how teenagerism works. One of the nights, we have 2 nights there. Monday night, we're going to have a guy, a professional storyteller, who comes in and does stories for us. And he gets to go through and like act them all out and stuff like that. The second night you're there, we're going to have skits that the teachers and the high school kids put on for you. If you have had older siblings go and they have pictures, don't look at them, because what happens at camp stays at camp. The last thing you need to see is all these weird pictures of the teachers doing things that are stuff that you don't have to worry about. But that is the second night. So what do? A lot. We covered quite a bit in those 3 days. Now, things that pop up. Is this school? Yes and no. The best way I can compare it is Camp Tecumseh is like school in the same way my class is like English, where learning happens, but you don't always realize it's happening. I'm one of the people that helps run Camp Tecumseh, so my fingerprints are all over it. So yes, you're going to learn, but you're probably not going to realize you're learning. Much like you guys have learned in here, even though you don't realize you're learning half the time. You just kind of like, what did you do in English? Nothing really. And you can go through like list like 45 things you did. You're like, oh, I guess stuff did happen. Same idea. Who is the principal at camp? Well, Mrs. Thorpe and Mr. Butts don't go. They're here dealing with 8th graders who are a handful in and of themselves. Typically, who it's going to be is this guy, Mr. Fossil, who's been going forever. And he is the principal there because he's what we call old. And so because of that, he's sort of the top one there. But if you... there's like a shadow on my screen. So sorry, just my own issue. Sorry, my problem. Aha, that's what it is. There's a hair there. I apologize for these of you watching at home. I couldn't figure out what was my issue. The problem is, if you see Mr. Fossil, that means you're probably being sent home. Because the only time he's going to deal with any heroes is that you've made a bad enough problem that you're getting kicked out of camp. For most of you, anytime there's an issue, this is your principal at camp. And that is the person that you're going to have to deal with. Now, Mr. Brovicast, you're so fun-loving and friendly, it won't be a problem. You're correct. I have very few discipline issues when we are at camp. Not because I'm fun-loving and friendly, but because, much like taking kids to Kings Island, I don't... Just right back there is fine. Thank you very much. I don't have to be mean to you if you're having fun. And most of the time, it's the same thing at camp. If you're having fun at camp, I'm not going to have to be mean to you. Now, I do have some kids who make poor choices at camp, When that happens, that's not what I look like. You're going to see a slightly different side of me. Because if you ruin my happy place, then I get to ruin your happy place. And we get to share it with each other. Now, I have had to be mean to the kids in the past. We have recess, but really we call it rec time because we're big kids. And so if you make poor choices, you lose rec time, which means that you have to basically have a punishment log, and you have to sit on the punishment log. And during rec time, the kids are running around playing basketball and gaga and stuff like that. You just sit there and cry while I stand behind you going, you can't talk to this kid, they make poor choices, and stuff like that. It does not happen very often because most kids don't make really poor choices there. We have sent kids home from camp, but once again, not a thing I'm really worried about. We just don't have, and don't take this the wrong way, we don't have bad enough kids this year. I just don't have big turd kids I'm really worried about. I mostly have kids who are just lazy and don't do work, which is annoying, but not a thing to get sent home for. So I'm not super worried about that. Do we take charter buses? We do. We charter these really fancy yellow buses that take us up there. They're great. Imagine it's like a ride to school multiplied by 2 hours, which is nice and long for you. Well, I mean, there is a bathroom, but it gets really messy, and you have to bring extra pants. So I don't recommend it myself. So with the buses, one, you should have friends on your bus, because your bus is whoever's in your cabin. So your cabin should have a friend in there. Plus, it's like 3 cabins combined, so most likely you're going to have other friends nearby. So you should have friends on the bus during the trip, so it shouldn't be too awful. Can we wear hats? Yes. Actually, I recommend bringing a hat, because you're going to be in what we call the sun. It's a thing many of you have not experienced before, and it's going to throw you off. And so many of you are going to get burnt and be uncomfortable. So bring a hat, makes things better. There are only 2 places you cannot wear a hat. One is the dining hall, and that's a Camp Tecumseh rule about respect. You have to take it off when you go in there. But I'm going to have hat head. It's okay. I take off my hat. I have hat head too. We get to have hat head together. It would be adorable. And then you also can't wear it in the shower, because that's awkward. Beyond that, you can wear a hat almost nonstop. Is there a dress code? Yup. And nope. Because who's the principal at camp? This guy. And I have daughters, and I understand how awful it is trying to buy clothing like that. So I can be somewhat forgiving. Can you wear running shorts? Or running shorts? Running shorts? Yeah. As long as they're not overly creepy and awkward. Here's where the issue comes in as far as the dress code goes. As long as you don't wear a thing that makes me go, oh, Jesus, when I look at you, then we should be fine. But if I have to look at you and have the, then we're going to have more issue. Here's the issue we're going to have, just so you can think it out ahead of time. I'm the one that you're going to be brought to, which means then we have to have the awkward moment where I have to look you up and down at your outfit and go, and then we have to make awkward eye contact with each other, and then we have to talk about what you're wearing. Then I have to give you some of my clothes to wear. And so, if you don't want to go through that experience, don't wear a thing that makes us have that conversation. So, there's no set guidelines, just don't wear a thing that's going to make me have to get involved. Does everyone go? No. Does almost everyone go? Yeah. We have 500 7th graders. Typically, we'll have around 10 kids not go. And that's about it of our 500 7th graders. The only reasons you're not going to go is, one, your parents refuse to let you go, either because they're punishing you or angry in some way. Sometimes it's a religious thing. Sometimes it's a cultural thing that the parents won't let you go. And if that comes up, talk. If you want to go and your parents say no, talk to me. I'm more than happy to fight for you to go. And I will do everything I can to try and help you out. If you can't afford it, that is not a reason not to go. We will find a way to get money to help pay for you. If you have issues here at school and you get in trouble, we cannot send you. So if you get in trouble a lot, we don't send you. But all of that combined is not very many kids. I do not foresee very many heroes staying behind whatsoever, unless for some reason you're just convinced you don't want to go and have fun. I'm not going to make you go. Just like I'm not going to make you go to Disney World. It's a fun place. I'm not going to make you go have fun if you don't want to. Does every kid who goes to Camp Tecumseh enjoy it? No. Does almost every kid? Yeah. Some kids hate everything. Some kids, no matter what we do, are not going to enjoy it. I could bring a fluffy kitten up to some kids and go, look, it's a fluffy kitten. And they'll go, I hate kittens. I'm like, what do you like? Dad. And I'm like, well, that explains things. So, if that's you, yeah, you're probably not going to enjoy it because you hate everything. Welcome to being a teenager. Do we pick our groups? No. But the choices you've made this year will influence how many of your friends are in that group. And when do you find out who's in everything? Unfortunately, not until right before spring break. And part of that is kids have not turned in their permission slips. I cannot put you in a group until you have a permission slip turned in, because you're not officially going until you turn in a permission slip. So until you get that turned in, I cannot even look at your friend list yet. So I have to keep pressuring kids and have you guys pressure each other to turn in permission slips so I can actually start making groups. Is the food good? It's not bad. I always have kids complain, but once again, kids complain about kittens. So, but mostly, no, it's not a major issue. We have breakfasty things there. They have like actual cereal bowls with like sugary cereal, like Lucky Charms and stuff like that you can have every morning if that's what you want. They also serve real food, like pancakes and bacon and eggs and stuff like that.
I'm going now. I definitely.
They also have, for your meals, they serve normal meals. Now, it's all like one thing. Like, they'll serve like everyone's going to be having hot dogs one day, or everyone's having chicken nuggets one day. But they'll serve, but they also have salad bar. And you can always choose a salad bar. If you're a vegetarian, one, that's weird. But two, that's fine, that's your choice. But you're welcome to have a salad bar every single day. You will not starve if you're a vegetarian. Now, if you're picky, you're like, I only eat red foods that start with R. Well, that sounds like a you issue. But beyond that, then you should be fine. Most kids don't complain about the food unless they just complain about everything. Are the cabins nice? Absolutely. I mean, they're not the nicest. You're not staying in the Hilton. My closest connection, if you have a friend that has a partially finished basement where it's not like complete full walls but not like creepy in the bottom, that's sort of how their cabins are. Whereas that mix, where it's like, they have bathrooms, and it's not like a person with a hose. It's like an actual bathroom that you go into with like actual toilets and stalls. The shower is a stall. It's just you all by yourself in there. And so you get like the beds have mattresses on them. Now, you have to bring your own sleeping bags, but you get to sleep on a mattress and stuff like that. The cabins are fairly big. They're about the size of my room, but they're cut in half. So imagine a wall down the middle, and then you're going to have 15 bunk beds in there. And so if you can imagine, you guys right there are like 12 kids right there. So, and then you add a bathroom in, about that. Bring it down so I can get to the rest of it. If you take medicine, you are welcome. We will give you medicine. We have kids do all the different medicines and stuff like that. If you have issues of some kind and you are worried that you cannot go because of whatever your issue might be, we have taken kids with every imaginable issue you can come up with. We've had kids like, every morning I wake up at 3 a.m. screaming. Why? I don't know. We'll take you. I will build a cabin. We'll get things set up. We can work around it. We have taken kids who are blind. Like, literally, we had a girl who had like the dark glasses and a cane in the hallways. Blind. She went to Camp Tecumseh, and she took her cane. She's like, tree, cliff. She was fine. And so she had a great sense of humor. I love her. We also took a girl that was called brittle bone syndrome, which is where you're permanently in a wheelchair and like you can't grow and your arms get broken, they get touched. She went in her wheelchair, and they carried her in like a wheelchair on trails and stuff like that. Any issue you can imagine, we have dealt with and we can take care of. So that is not a reason not to go. Packing list is on my website. We'll take care of that later. Things you cannot bring, just to cover, soft drinks. There's a soda machine there, in which you can buy soda during rec time. The only reason we don't let you bring soda is two reasons. One, we don't want you guzzling Mountain Dew at bedtime, because then you're going to be up all night. And then two, you might not know this, but some kids are clumsy and messy. And so they're going to spill Mountain Dew all over the floor, and it becomes sticky, and it's awful. Does that mean we can't bring food? No, you can bring chips and candy. I have no problem with that. Because the thing is, if you spill chips, we just go shucka, and just sweep it out the door. If you spill Mountain Dew, it's like shucka, and it gets stuck. So it doesn't work as well. So pop, we stop. Now, but I have to have caffeine. Bring money, go to the soda machine, buy it, you're good to go. You can't bring knives. Not normally an issue, except some kids are like Boy Scouts, like, I can skin a bear. Good. Do it with your bare hands. And then you also cannot bring your school iPad. Can I bring my phone? No and yes. Because here's how the whole phone thing works out. You can bring it. We're just not responsible for it. Here's what that means. You cannot lock the cabin because there's no lock on it. So if you leave it in the cabin, it can get stolen. If you take it with you on the trails, make sure it's waterproof. Because if it rains, you keep on hiking. If you're in a canoe and it flips over and it gets wet, you're out of luck. If you're walking along a trail somewhere next to a creek and you fall in and it gets wet, you're out of luck. But Mr. Bobiak, I'm not clumsy. I won't fall in. That's good. Is there a kid in your group who might be? Who falls like, and then grabs you and pulls you down?
Just want to know.
I was just want to know.
Hang on.
Washington, D.C. should report to the county.
8th grade, Washington, D.C.